Okay. Could you explain the law of tithing and how it relates to prosperity?
Well, anytime you feel abundance, more abundance comes. The other day, Jerry and Esther caught just a little piece of a television program. It was a program about people who had become very famous and very wealthy in a very short period of time and then had become very unfamous and very unwealthy very quickly thereafter. And this man was expressing with such fervor. Esther loved hearing the truth that he spoke. He said, when you have everything, people want to give you everything. And when you have nothing, people don't want to give you anything. And he was talking about this brief moment in time when they were on top and everybody loved them. And everywhere they went, people opened doors. They just couldn't do enough for them. And then when it was over, it was really, really over. And Esther said, oh, how I would like to have an opportunity to visit with him about law of attraction. I would like him to understand why the truth of what he speaks is so powerful and so true. So here's how all of this ties into this idea of tithing. When you are feeling your abundance so much so that you say, I have more than enough for myself, and I will happily give for someone else's benefit this, then you're in the place of continuing to receive. So there are those who tithe that benefit from the vibration that it induces within them, while there are others who tithe who receive no benefit whatsoever because they didn't have enough for themselves. They resent having to give the percentage that they're giving. They are unhappy about what the IRS is doing with the tithe. And so it all has to do with the mindset that you're feeling. It's the mood or attitude that is behind the action. It is not the action in and of itself. Money is an interesting thing because when you feel shortage, that's the vibration that's activated within you. And even though you want, sometimes desperately, more money to come, you're not letting it in because you're so involved in the not enoughness of it, you see. Jerry and Esther visited with us for hundreds of hours in the beginning of making the decision that they would produce these seminars because they did not know how to charge, if they should charge. Some people suggested what they called love offerings. And we suggested that they pick something that was comfortable enough that people could reach to it easily, that was large enough that it would cover the expenses of what they were doing and that they could do it in comfort, and that they would expect people to be able to rise to the occasion if their desire was there. And we said to them, it's an interesting thing. As people find something that they want, they will find a way to make it happen. And they will experience the exaltation of that experience. Where if you say to someone, I see that you cannot do this for yourself, so I will do it for you, it is so disempowering. And so with tithing, if it is a voluntary thing, we think it is a very wonderful thing. We encourage people to tithe to their clothing account, to tithe to their vacation account, tithe anywhere that pleases you, but it's the attitude of I've got more than I need, I'm doing extremely well, and all is well with me. That's the attitude that propagates the well-being of abundance. Yes. Call it anything you want. We call it activating the vibration of well-being relative to the subject of money.
This is actually about my inheritance from my dad's family. I didn't realize that I was going to be talking about the inheritance. I thought I was going to be talking about the IRS. But
it's the same subject.
Yeah, it really is for me. So I inherited this money, and then it was really tied up in some yucky vibrations, and then I found a way of freeing it up for myself. But it's like I'm always confronted with a choice of, do I want to feel like maybe my uncle feels or my brother feels, or do I want to feel good? And so I found a way that feels good most of the time, but then I've managed to get rid of the boogeyman of the devil and God sometimes and my mom and all those different boogeymen, but now I have the boogeyman of the IRS, and I want to feel good, and I want to be able to accept where I am. And it's hard to create a virtual reality sometimes with it because it's like I guess I just have to look somewhere else.
Well, you've answered your own question right before we were about to jump in the middle of it, because remember, creating a virtual reality to fix something is a misusing of the virtual reality. And sometimes when you're in the middle of something that feels big in your experience, it is big in your experience, and when you think about it, it does not feel good to you. The very best thing that you could do is to just set it aside temporarily, and by temporarily we mean for this moment. Think for just a moment about something really embarrassing that happened to you not so long ago. Something that still, when you think about it, feels embarrassing. And just start to activate it just a little bit, and then stop in the first whiff of it and say to yourself, I don't have to think about that now. I'm not going to think about that now. I might think about it later, but I'm not going to think about it now. And feel the rise of the discomfort and then the releasing of it. In other words, the feeling of antagonism and then the relief from it not coming over you. It's sort of like Esther is turning on the television looking for something interesting, and she gets right in the middle of surgery. And instantly, her finger's on the button. What's really funny is when it's surgery, 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 surgery. It's that same sort of feeling of, oh no, I don't want to go there, and immediately looking for something else to focus upon so that you don't go there. When you're in a situation where you don't necessarily have your finger on the remote control button and something in your life experience has activated a vibration within you, it's not the easiest thing to change the subject, but the remedy still is the same thing. And that's really why we're wanting to teach you to go to these little stints of virtual reality where you go there just for the pleasure of being there until you've shown yourself that you can deliberately activate vibrations that feel good. Because the hardest thing for physical friends in audiences like this to hear from us is that you do not have to do a virtual reality on the IRS in order to get the IRS to treat you the way you want them to. You don't have to get in there and work them around. In fact, we've never known anybody who could get into a virtual reality and make the IRS do anything, because you've been convinced otherwise. Your beliefs are very strong about it. They feel like a big body that's going to do what they're going to do. And if you tangle with the IRS, even where you have ultimate creative license, it doesn't work for you. So it is much better for you to just leave them out of the equation altogether and to do, in your virtual reality, other good-feeling things. And in the beginning, we would encourage you to do other good-feeling things that are not related to your uncle, that are not related to your brother, that are not related to the money necessarily, that are not related to the inheritance and not related to the IRS. In other words, we would just pick things that are easy to feel good about and practice them for a little while until you have reconfirmed or reaffirmed to the universe what your vibration really is. And then, you know what? IRS has to conform to that vibration. It's not possible for anything. Oh, we really want you to hear this so much we think we will shout it. It is not, we won't shout. Well, maybe we will. It is not possible for anything, including the IRS, to touch you in a way that is not active in your vibration. It is not possible. And if something is touching you in any way that it is touching you, it is because it is active in your vibration. And somebody should do something about it. And you're the only one who can. And so, now think about what we're talking about here. Did we say to you that you have to activate IRS in its icky form and then take it to virtual reality and transform it into an activation that's not in an icky form? No, in fact, we said to you, we don't even think that's possible. You have to activate vibrations that serve you, which is the same thing as saying deactivate vibrations that don't serve you. And the way you deactivate something you don't want is by activating something you do want. This is really important to hear. The way that you activate something that you do want automatically deactivates something that you don't want, and the way that you deactivate something you don't want is by activating something that you do want. But you don't have to activate anything about the IRS being good. You just have to not activate something about the IRS being bad. See how it works? Mm-hmm. So, what would be an easy scene for you? Where do you want it to take place? You get to choose. And remember, what is the purpose of the virtual reality? to practice good feeling vibration. So let's go somewhere good feeling.
Okay.
Could be anywhere. Could be home, could be somewhere far away. Inside, outside, you get to choose.
Okay.
Outside?
No.
Inside?
Oh, I don't know.
Something good feeling. You can dabble, and if it doesn't feel good, you can choose something else. In other words, there's no right or wrong in this. So you just ask yourself, generally speaking, do I feel best when I'm indoors or outdoors?
Indoors.
And generally speaking, do I feel best when I'm indoors in a beautiful space or indoors in a very dirty, very bug-ridden, what kind of space do I feel best in when I'm indoors?
Light, high ceiling, my apartment.
So we're indoors in your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And what time of day is it?
It's night.
It's nighttime?
Mm-hmm.
But your apartment is still light?
Oh, whoops.
That's all right. We just want you get to set the
Twilight
scene.
evening.
It's twilight evening,
Mm-hmm.
and where are you in your apartment?
I'm in my living room.
And it's a good feeling space.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the atmosphere? Are you getting ready to entertain? Are you there all alone?
There's someone with me.
Somebody is with you.
Mm-hmm.
And what's your mood or attitude? In other words, how are you feeling?
I feel joyous.
And how's your partner feel?
He feels joyous too.
And have you been together for hours, or are you just coming together? Is this the beginning of a rendezvous, or have you been together for many hours?
Beginning.
So there's a feeling of anticipation and a feeling of really looking forward to a very delicious time that is before you.
Yes.
Now your scene is almost over, and you have just a few minutes to say something to your friend. What are you wanting to say? Your time's up. Now, he has about 3 or 4 seconds to say something to you. What is he saying to you? 5, 4,
I love you.
3.
Mm-hmm. I love you.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Now, your scene is opened again. What would you like to say to him?
I love you too.
No point in closing this scene, is there? Ooh, this feels very good,
Maybe
doesn't
we
it?
should.
Maybe we better close it.
Yeah.
That's so powerful and so productive. In other words, do you know that as you activate that vibration of well-being, that in this moment, any forces that were moving toward causing you any trouble came to a screeching halt, literally, for the time of this change in your vibration. Because nothing can touch you that is not a match to that vibration while that vibration is there. So we're not trying to get you into virtual reality to hold off the IRS. We're wanting you to get into a virtual reality to practice those thoughts that feel like that. And as you practice them more and more, can you see how then you just want to have those experiences more and more? The more you practice, the more you vibrate it. The more you vibrate it, the more the universe gives it to you. The more the universe gives it to you, the more data you have to practice it, and the more moments that you don't even have to practice it because it's just already happening around you. You reach a place where you practice a little and observe fabulous life, and practice a little and observe fabulous life, and practice a little and observe fabulous life. And it is so rare when something happens that is off-putting or upsetting to you. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sounds good.
So our encouragement to you is just to deactivate the IRS vibration and live happily ever after.
Okay. Okay. That ought to do it. Thank you.
Yes, indeed.